Hello, I am Michael. I'm here to explain the mask filter holder that I have been developing. It's the one that you see that I'm wearing on my face. Right. It is a filter holder prototype. How this came about, back on March 21st, a friend of mine sent me an email to a link to a video about someone who was trying to 3D print face masks. I watched the video. It was quite interesting, and I read the comments as well, and there were a number of comments, and one of the limitations of that was they were having difficulty finding the right materials in order to print it with, and also then the speed. The 3D printers just simply aren't fast to create the volumes of masks that we're going to need. But it clearly identified that there is a need for masks, not just for the medical community, but as hopefully as the economy gets going again, all of the people working in the economy, and before that, even all the essential workers who are in the economy, all need a mask. They all want some sense of security, some sense of protection, both to be sure that they're not spreading the virus, which is very important, but also to make sure that they're not catching the virus from someone else. So to me, it's a two-step process, and that the mask needs to make sure that nothing gets out of me that I don't want to get out of me, and also that I don't bring anything in that I don't want to do. I have had a cough since March 16th. It's been a lingering cough, which is a typical thing that I get in the springtime. But this year I've become acutely aware of how you end up coughing on everything. And so this has sort of given me the need or the understanding that I need what can I do to create a better mask? And how to come up with a mask that can be made locally, wherever you are in the world, out of readily available materials. Because that was part of the problem with the 3D printed one, is not all the materials are available. Readily available materials that can provide both protection from spreading the virus and also from receiving the virus. A lot of the masks and the respirators, they have an exhaust valve for the exhaust pressure, so that you simply just blow out the air that you have, which to me sort of defeats the purpose. My biggest concern is that if I have the virus, I would not want to spread it to anyone else. And so this is where, so I looked at it and said, okay, what materials do I have? And one of the things I looked at is I have my peanut container, right? And this is PET material. It's thermoformed material with a vacuum drawn down into a mold. It's readily available. They make billions of these products a year. This one here is used to contain peanuts, and it has a nice little snapping lid that just sort of snaps over the top and seals. When I was rinsing this one out to show it for the video, I had it full of water, and it holds water. It's quite solid, and it's quite secure, and it's sealed there. And I go, well, that's an interesting material. It has some flex. It's food grade. It's a relatively safe, relatively inert material. So and it's easy to form very quickly. The businesses who are already in the business of forming this material. So simply what we have to do is come up with a design or a mold to make a mask out of this material that can put a flat piece of filter material in between here, cut a hole in the top, snap it over top, and we have a filter holder, other than this one's a little large. So basically, in the design of this mask, we need something that we can create in high volumes, that's flexible enough to give a good seal to the face, that keeps the volume of air to a minimum so that we're not rebreathing the same air. As I exhaust the air out, I don't want to be drawing the same air back in. So the smaller the volume of the mask itself, the better that is. It needs to be lightweight in that we're going to be wearing it all day. This mask, when I get this one here assembled together, we will weigh it. It is quite lightweight, and it needs to have a maximum filter area. Most of the designs that I saw they were reducing the filter area, and which is causing you to build up too much pressure, which breaks the seal or causes excess condensation inside of the mask. So the important thing is to make this thing comfortable and wearable at work for a long term. It has to have a maximum filter area, and also at this point I don't have a filter material, so it has to be flexible enough that whatever filter material we can find, it will work. And so those are sort of the design criteria of what we have, or what I found or considered. So then basically I started out by just hand carving a mold to see if the concept of something fitting my face would work. I made a mold, I vacuum formed it, it fit reasonably well. I took the measurements from it, I created a parametric model in 3D Fusion of this mask so that I can machine it on the CNC, and also I can make adjustments or tweaks to the size, and also then scale it for different sizes as well. So once I had the parametric model, then we made the molds to vacuum form the individual pieces, combination of CNC and thermoforming. Right. This is the mold for the face part, and then there is a cap that goes on here. The first one has the connector on it. This one here is the one for trimming, and then basically we take a sheet of the thermoform material like this, we heat it up, and the vacuum draws it down over top of the material until it looks like that, and then we take the CNC and we trim the edges off around it so that we have the finished part coming off of there. And each one of these each one of these components, there is basically the face mask, the filter bowl, which is, and then the retainer, which holds the filter onto the bowl. So those are the three main components that we're making to assemble this. And then, so we take our filter mask, and these two connect together, and there's a connection in here between the two. The face mask goes inside of the filter bowl. We sort of slide the two bottom ends first, and then there's a little lip on the inside, and so we draw it in. As it gets drawn down, it gets quite thin, so it doesn't take well to being pushed, but you can draw it in as long as you keep it under tension, and it makes a quite secure connection like that. So that gives us our face mask and our filter holder, and then we would take a filter, right, and our retaining ring, set it down on there, and then set the retaining ring on top and simply snap that down into place. And then we have the filter on there. Depending on your circumstances, if you're not coughing, the one strap is fine. Basically, we put it through the bottom holes. Right, like that, and then it goes over the top of the nose, and then as this pulls tight, this flexes in and out, so we have a fair bit of adaptability to different face shapes, and it also pulls it down on the nose, and there are little indents in here to keep it tight into the sides of the nose. This one seals quite well. I do find it works quite well if I'm breathing normally or talking like this. One strap is fine. If I am coughing, the back pressure, and depending on the filter material that I have in there, the back pressure can cause it to come loose a little bit at the chin at that time, because that's typically where it will release first. So because I'm coughing, I put a second strap on. I move this one down to the bottom, and I put a second strap in the top, basically across the nose. Right, and that's how you see here that I have the top strap on and the bottom strap there. And that keeps it quite secure, and that is enough to keep it tight that if I cough, I'm not breaking the seal. Right, and I do know you can tell when you're breaking the seal. Like I said, if I don't have the bottom string on and I cough, I can feel the seal gives way. So it does seal quite well to my face. Now, granted, faces come in all different sizes and shapes, and I haven't done a whole lot of research as to how this fits other faces, but we do have the parametric model, and I do know that I can get a perfect fit on my face, so I can get a perfect fit on every face. We may need to make 12 sizes, like we have 12 sizes of shoes. If that's the case, or we may need 4 sizes or 5 sizes. And that's where, if you have information or help on that sort of information, that would save me a lot of time rather than going through that myself. So this is our mask and our filter. It's quite secure. Now, for the filter material, I don't have a supply of that yet. Like I said, I started with the filter material for my furnace. Which I basically took a new furnace filter that I had. I basically cut it apart, had this wire mesh on there, pull the wire mesh back, and we've got a fabric material. According to the specs on this has a MERV rating of 8. That's and so, but for the depending on what your requirements are, you can get also a 13 to 16 MERV rating in your filters as well. So that's that material, right? And I cut a small section of that, right? And you know, we can take this one out of here. Right? And you know, we can simply put that material on there. Make sure we have our retainer around in the right direction, and simply snap that one in there. And then we have that material, and we can trim the edge off, or like I said, so if you're just trying different materials, you can do it like that. Or we do have a profile, right? So that was basically furnace material. That was sort of option number one. The next option was blue cloth. We've heard rumors and saying that, you know, this is quite effective. I have used it myself. Another material that we've heard that you know, is a possible solution. And again, if you are the manufacturer of any of these materials, we need to hear from you. If you can give us some specs as to what their ratings are, what their filtering are, or you can make something better. But this is basically taking your basic coffee filter. Now, at this point, it's a little thin. If this is the material, I would need to make a little tighter retainer. Most of these other materials are in the 10 to 15 thou thickness of material. This one here is about 2 to 3 thousandths of an inch in thickness. So it is a little light in terms of its snapping in there. It does snap, but it tends to flutter a little bit with the coffee filter. But again, if you know, it's a matter of finding the right material. We did talk to a furnace filter manufacturer, and they gave us 3 different samples as well. We have this one, which is a 241, which is about a 95% efficiency. Then we have the FTR 505. This is a little stiffer material. I think it's a little more durable. This one has sort of a fuzzy edge, which you can see from handling. It's a little bit. This one is a lot more durable material. It's currently the one that I'm wearing right here. It works quite well. It does provide a bit of resistance in the coughing. That's where I do need the tighter strap for this one than that one. And then we have this one here, which is a 99.97% filter material. It works quite well, but if you're not doing exertive or heavy lifting or that sort of thing, you know, part of my thinking is I'm looking for a mask for the workers, for the people in the food industry, the food preparation industry, and the service industries, all those essential workers out there who are in the non-medical field. They need protection as well, but they can be doing heavy physical work. And so for them, this filter is likely a little too restrictive air-wise, but if you're just using it for a short time, this is the ultimate in protection. So those are the possibilities. There are other filters out there. It's a matter of connecting with the suppliers. If you're a supplier or know a supplier, we would like to hear from you as to what you think. Okay, for that one there, just for our completed mask, just to give you an idea of the weight. This mask, straps included, is 30 grams. So it is super lightweight. The benefits of it, you know, is that it is not cloth. You know, in my wearing this, and I've been wearing them a fair bit just simply to test them out and that sort of thing. There does end up with condensation inside the mask. You can't get away from it. The heavier the filter is, the longer you've used the filter, the dirtier it gets, the more condensation I seem to build up inside of the mask. But the nice thing about it, in a sense, is that the condensation is on the PVC and it doesn't wick back to your skin. So it simply stays in the areas that aren't in contact with the skin. And it is set downwards and stuff so that any moisture, any draining is going to sort of drop to the bottom of the filter. Now, the other day I was unloading some sheets of MDF, bringing them into the shop, and so I was heavy exerting work, and there was a bit of condensation that built up in the bottom of the filter from that, but I was out in the cold and working quite hard to the point where I was sweating as well. And so, you know, but in that sense, the condensation was all sort of contained as well. None of that got out. So to me, I think that's the goal of this mask, is to prevent the moisture from getting out. So I don't mind that it builds up a little bit inside of the mask rather than spreading it out all over everything else. Right? So this is where I'm at. I have made the prototypes. I can make 10 masks in about 4 hours by myself. If I had some help, we could certainly double or triple that capacity. But that's slow. The packaging industry, when we talked to a packager, they told us once we had the molds made for them, that they could produce 20,000 items in an 8-hour shift. So that gives us the potential to make a lot of these. That's one packager. There are several packagers in Ontario who are capable of doing that. The next thing we need to do, though, is we need researchers or people with experience in the field and in the mask field to look at this design, to evaluate this design, to let us know if there are any problems, to let us know if it actually does work. And if you have experience in the certifying and testing, we need to have this mask tested and certified. We also need to have a good supply of the filter materials and also the testing and the certification for the materials. We also need to conduct the tests for the various fits for different sizes and that sort of thing, and coming up with what the pressure requirements are in terms of a seal, and what the volume of air we need for the filters, so that when we're looking at different filter materials, we can establish from an engineering point of view whether that filter material is going to be acceptable or not. And then from there, we need people with the capacity to manufacture, package, and distribute these products. You know, part of the original thing, what I looked at is I was looking at a non-medical mask. You know, in my thinking is we're essential workers, to give them protection. That hopefully there's a lot happening for the medical field, and that people are looking after that, and there's a lot of people focusing on that. Our focus was on the essential workers, the other staff that are in the hospitals, in the retirement homes, our truck drivers, our deliveries, our grocery store, all the people in the grocery store, all the people in the food processing industry, all the people in the power and transmission industry, all the people in the energy sector. These jobs are essential, and so they have to go to work every day, and they want protection, and they need protection, and they deserve protection, and we want to give them the best possible protection we can. So that's sort of our goal. And the same thing, if you're from the government and you're watching this video, please contact us. We have applied to the Ontario Together. We've had a limited response from them telling us that they're looking at it. We need to hear more. We can move very quickly on this when we have financing and we have the evaluations, that someone outside verifying that this product is worthwhile and is going to be a benefit. Then we are ready to go with this, and we're looking to hear from you. We have the website, which is mvrdesigns.ca/mask. It has all our confirmation on there. Or you can also email me. I'm Michael, Michael, at looseletters.ca, looseletters.ca. We look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully soon everybody can have a mask to protect. Everybody can have a mask to protect themselves. That's our goal. We look forward to it. Thank you.